In my final year at school, I was the anchor for our house cross-country relay team. I was also ranked as one of the best runners at the school. When I received the baton, I felt the overwhelming weight of responsibility to take the lead and finish strong. Instead, I mistimed my charge to the front of the field and ultimately failed in my mission. I crawled across the finish line, then collapsed unconscious. I woke up with a drip in each arm and the suggestion that I should not participate in the individual event the following week. Thanks to the sanatorium support, I rehydrated sufficiently for a return to sports in a few days, but was initially despondent about my chances in the individual event, given the recent fainting incident. I felt progressively stronger and more confident as it neared time for the individual run. My mood improved dramatically. On the day of the race, I got the strategy spot on and found myself in front with 1 mile to go. It was then a case of hanging on, crossing the finish line, and enjoying the fulfillment of a dream. When I look back at that small achievement from my school years, I realize it is a big reference point for how to overcome adversity, find the upside in a downturn, and simply help oneself believe that success can follow disappointment. Fast forward 10 years, and I was a commando captain protecting freedom in the West African state of Sierra Leone, where a rebel army was advancing on Freetown, murdering and maiming hundreds of innocent civilians along the way. My role was to fly onshore from the commando carrier HMS Ocean, liaise with the Spearhead Battalion on the ground, and then lead my mortar troop of 70 Marines as we adjusted a number of targets to ensure indirect fire capability when the rebels approached Freetown. During that 6-week campaign in West Africa, there were many threats and risks outside our control. But what we could rely on was our training and our trust. Trust in each other, trust in the system, and trust in the motivation of the Marines on the ground. In other words, we focused on what we could control to lead a successful defense of the capital. When I reflect on that situation, I realize how critical it was to sustain the right climate for the troop to deliver excellence in a dangerous place, to manage the mood or mood set for motivation and morale. Over the last 10 years, I have completely immersed myself in the business of accelerated improvement, supporting leaders and teams in upstream energy to unlock their potential and to exceed their expectations. I've also focused on accelerating my own improvement in the sport of CrossFit, applying the principles of excellence in the areas of nutrition, preparation, training, and recovery. In parallel, I've read and listened to hundreds of performance-related books while also writing 4 of my own. Accelerating Automatic is my most recent book, published in 2020. With this book, I wanted to explain my strong belief that any competent individual or team can unlock full potential by maintaining the right balance in an approach where best practice becomes automatic. My research revealed 3 key areas: mindset, method, and mood. Mindset is led by leadership. It involves openness to possibility, openness to objective assessment, openness to coaching, and a belief in better. It includes optimism and resilience in equal measure. Mindset is critical for initiative. It is essential for acceleration to automatic. Method is system discipline. It requires an uncompromising adherence to proven process, even when it is the last thing anyone feels like doing. The process may not be perfect, but it certainly works. Method allows repeated practice to become automatic. Digital tools are increasingly being introduced to support business methodology. Mood describes the prevailing performance climate. It includes intangible but invaluable behaviors and deliverables which maintain the right atmosphere for team excellence. Mood is the magic which helps mindset and method drive mastery, which is essentially the stage of unconscious competence where high performance is automatic. My research and reporting further inspired me to develop a working model to guide project leaders in how to accelerate automatic high performance. This simple model illustrates the connection I have experienced supporting teams at the front line in my own life while striving to become a better human. Champions and champion teams tend to model the mastery of that integration of mindset, method, and mood. Mastery is the sweet spot where the hard work pays off and 10 years turns into overnight success. It is sustainable if the contributing elements are kept in balance and maintained at an optimal level. Winning sports teams and elite organizations exemplify the 3M formula. Now, mindset and method are relatively well understood. In my experience, creating and sustaining the right mood or mood set is an area of weakness for many leaders and teams. For this reason, I intend to explore some ideas for mastering the right mood set for excellence. Mood is the background music, the ambience, the feeling we have about an environment. Does it make us feel productive and energetic, or does it make us feel ignored and lethargic? In any team environment, one gets a sense of how people behave, how people are treated, and what is the state of morale. This all ties into the team mood, and this is fundamental to the acceleration of team performance from average to excellent. People often ask me about the best initial indicators of a team performance culture based on first impression. I always answer that it is about the simple basics. Good or bad, these indicators are typically representative of the overall performance picture. The first indicator is whether or not members of the organization are audibly bad-mouthing management or each other. It is amazing how prevalent this is, and therefore the absence of negative talk is notable. The second indicator is whether meetings happen as advertised and on time. Unfortunately, many organizations struggle to start meetings on time and to keep meetings effective. Consistently punctual and valuable meetings are therefore significant. The third indicator is whether people do what they say they'll do when they say they'll do it. All too often, incongruence is the norm. Someone promises to get something done, but then needs constant reminding. Early delivery on small promises is a massive positive. Performance culture has much more complexity, but these initial indicators have served me well for many years. Here are some of the subtle behavioral indicators of a true team in any setting, of a team much more likely to achieve high performance based on my observations and experience. The first element is basic courtesy. This is such a fundamental one. It manifests in various daily interfaces, such as greeting colleagues when you see them and responding to communications in a timely fashion. It needs to be a two-way street. If it feels like one party is constantly having to initiate the courtesy, there is no true team. The second element is basic trust. This builds on courtesy. A true team has formed and stormed to the extent that trust has been earned. It allows for personal growth and for individual expression to benefit the collective. If concerns about trust are regularly voiced or micromanagement is in evidence, there is no true team. The third element is basic empathy. This builds on courtesy and trust. It means that team members are interested in the challenges of colleagues and that they seek to understand different points of view. If there is no sense that teammates genuinely care or can step into the shoes of others, there is no true team. The fourth element is basic energy. This is an essential ingredient in any successful team. Energy can be seen and sensed, as can lethargy, an opposite element synonymous with poor performance and disjointed teams. If there is a lack of energy, there is no true team, or at least not one that is likely to achieve high performance. Bringing it all together, in my experience, true teams consist of courteous individuals with high levels of trust, genuine empathy, and high energy. These elements can be detected in a relatively short space of time. Deficiencies in any of these areas will detract from team togetherness and will prevent high performance. Get the basic elements in place and build a true team. The language that we use as leaders also influences the team dynamic and human behavior. Workers and followers conform to the subtle cues of their management. Our words play a major role in team health and team well-being. Two words that can have a disproportionately negative impact on morale and performance are I and they. Thankfully, a word that can undo that damage, if adopted as a better replacement, is we. All too often, I have experienced the disappointment of hearing I will decide when it should be a team decision, or they messed up when in fact we were all involved somehow. Incredibly, very little is lost, but a huge amount is gained if instead the message is we messed up and we will decide how to improve together. I've been on so many projects where the ubiquitous they are to blame that I wonder whether they have ever done anything right. How about a switch to a world where the only time we use I or they is to say I made a mistake, or they did an excellent job. Otherwise, use we to include team and togetherness. Based on the we cultures I've been privileged to serve, you'll be amazed at the positive impact on morale and performance that this subtle shift can have. Sir John Whitmore, author of the book Coaching for Performance, references a superb formula, P equals P minus I, or performance equals potential minus interference. I love the word interference in this context because it perfectly describes many of the real and imagined obstacles that we allow to detract from our own and our team's true potential. Bruce Tuckman devised the forming, storming, norming, performing model for team progress. Natural progress to performance can be accelerated with deliberate effort. The difference between the two curves is tolerated interference. If we can remove this interference, we can certainly enhance mood set, our own and others. Interference that I have encountered with frontline teams includes unnecessary meetings, irritating micromanagement, and overwhelming bureaucracy, as well as nowadays unlimited social media. Ask anyone affected by these issues about their mood, and you can expect them to give a less than positive response. I'm now going to unpack 5 mood set maximizers for you to consider. The first is to learn from the playbooks of exceptional coaches. What enables the extraordinary? Netflix recently released a fascinating series called The Playbook. I watched every episode in one go. It was like intravenous inspiration for me. The insights from Jose Mourinho were especially intriguing. Their guidance influenced some of the most talented and egotistical athletes on the planet. All 5 of the episodes provided principles for performance from proven practitioners. I was then able to analyze these phenomenal pointers and identify trends while also reflecting on my own playbook for mood set mastery. Some say that a corporate team is different to a rig team, which is different from a sports team. A factory floor is different to a shop floor, which is different from a football pitch or a tennis court. But there is a common denominator, people. And to get the best out of people is a craft which requires relentless curiosity and infinite service. I'm an avid reader, drawn to authors like Simon Sinek, Malcolm Gladwell, and Matthew Syed. These authors are some of the most respected voices when it comes to what it takes to unlock great. I learn from them and many others. Their findings often reveal further fascinating ideas about how sustainable progress has been made and what we can learn from societies, communities, and outliers. Mastering mood set is particularly important at this present time when many are working in isolation. As with locker room inspiration for athletic excellence, the subtle cues for optimal productivity wherever we work are worthy of deliberate focus in order to achieve measurable progress and, of course, in order to celebrate every small success. I analyzed the Netflix series for consistency and created a top 5 informed by the list of 27 ideas. I got to this set of guidelines, 5 golden rules for accelerated excellence. 1, start with the truth. 2, always be the underdog. 3, seize our opportunities. 4, together as a trusting team. And 5, forward to the finish. The best quote of the series for me was the one from Patrick Mouratoglou, who coaches tennis superstars like Serena Williams. Your body language is telling me everything I need to know. Body language is the language of our mood set. The second aspect to look at is find your own feng shui, create the best conditions for ourselves. I'm always on the hunt for marginal gains and self-help tips. Some work for me and some don't. The following 10 that I have adopted from respected peers or from reading, listening, or viewing proven performers in their fields. Definite positive difference for me in 2020, absolutely no doubt. 1, go to bed before 10 p.m. By no means a novel suggestion. However, we all know that the early to bed intention often drifts such that it is close to midnight before shut-eye kicks in. Read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and I guarantee you'll take this one more seriously. Next is get to work early to get ahead of the day. I genuinely find that by getting to my desk an hour ahead of most, I achieve a win-win-win. Quiet time to get stuff done, sufficient time to plan the day, awareness of priorities in order to drive the agenda. This agenda then includes creating time to ensure balance. Next is to drink a glass of water while making any cup of tea or coffee. Again, We all know we should drink more water, yet it can be difficult to actually do so. By making it a habit to down a glass of water while making a cup of coffee or tea, we ensure we remain properly hydrated through each day. Next is to turn the water temperature to completely cold for the last 30 seconds of a shower. This shock effect can enhance circulation, reduce inflammation, and awaken our senses as we step out of the shower and into the rest of the day. The recently published Wim Hof method evangelizes on this point. Wim also discusses breathing in detail. Cold and breath can not only set an incredible mood, they can prevent disease and prolong life as well. Next is to listen to an audiobook in the car when driving alone. Prior to this regimen, I was struggling to read 10 books a year. Now I'm over 3 books a month, thanks to audiobooks, and particularly to progressing through them while driving to work, to meetings, and to the gym. You can effectively read 1.5 times faster as well, because you can choose an accelerated speed of narration within the app. Next is to cut out starchy carbs and unnecessary sugar. This simple hack has been an absolute game changer. Cut out beer, bread, sodas, biscuits, and sweets. This is genuinely not as bad as it sounds. There are palatable substitutes for everything on that list: wine, spirits, a variety of nuts, sparkling water, and dark chocolate and fruit. Yes, there is some instant gratification sacrifice on this one. However, the long-term benefits include less chance of disease, less chance of injury, more chance of a better mood. Add in intermittent fasting, and you'll be amazed by the improvement in your energy. Next is to stretch every day. Most of us live sedentary lives. We sit at our desks hunched over keyboards for way too long, shortening our connective tissue and wasting our musculature. One way to mitigate these afflictions is to stretch and strengthen for as little as 10 minutes a day. As an additional tip, I recommend getting an elevated desk and standing while working. It has been a game changer for my posture, alertness, and fitness this year. Next is to exercise every weekday. There are 100+ excuses and reasons that we cannot get to the gym or go for a run. I've used them all. Bottom line, healthy body equals healthy mind. Just get it done. I set aside the weekend for family, so I have to get my training done during the week. Gym bag in the car and ready for when I get to the gym. Ideally, same time every day. Having a preferred and booked time has made a huge difference for me. Lunchtime CrossFit workout with the community spirit, competitive environment, and creative programming is a highlight of my day and means I get back to the desk refreshed, inspired, and recharged. If I can't make midday, I go later. Next is to email ideas and to-dos to myself as soon as I think of them. In the past, I've struggled to capture many ideas and actions as they pop into my head. I now just email myself and worry about how to address the idea later. That way I know it is not lost. This has made a significant difference, particularly to small admin tasks, which can traditionally be overlooked or forgotten. Next is to track activity with apps. For some reason, I had a level of resistance toward phone apps, which help journal and track goals, activities, habits, workouts, macros, and sleep stats. No longer. I'm converted. Most of them are so user-friendly now that it really is not onerous or confusing. Plus, they are very cost-effective. My Fitbit, for example, auto-tracks steps, workouts, and sleep for me. On their own, these 1% tweaks can seem somewhat trivial, but together they add up to a 10% improvement in mood set, creativity, productivity, health, and wealth. A step change worth taking. The next aspect is purposeful progress, proven habits of high performers. I like to provide insights from the front line about leadership and performance, also about learning and about methods that achieve results. Often my observations uncover subtle habits and behaviors which have a big impact on teamwork and mood set. The leader in this case now supervises drilling operations on a rig offshore. With significant technical experience, he attended a performance coaching course I ran many years ago. It was obvious then that he was a naturally curious and determined individual. He wanted to expand his skill set and evolve his mindset. Fast forward to the present, and I had the privilege of returning to the front line to support his operation. Despite constant setbacks and an ongoing period of troubleshooting, I was extremely impressed by the way he conducted himself and how he led the offshore team. Here are 10 habits that I noticed about this impressive frontline leader. They are simple habits, however, they are not often seen together, and they do enable a true one-team spirit. First is take your job seriously, but not yourself. Humble and self-deprecating, jokes at own expense on occasion, no ego. Next is make time for everyone, no matter how busy. Open door at all times, no hidden agenda. Get back to people if you say you will. Respond to emails which are adding value to the campaign. Next is take time to recognize team members who help the operation progress. No exceptions, no favorites, consistent recognition of those who deserve praise for going the extra mile, no matter the wider context. Take ownership and defend the team when needed. No blame culture. Say what needs to be said and stand up for the team when appropriate. Do the right thing. Support the agreed process for planning and learning. When there is not time for an agreed meeting, apologize and look for a win-win compromise. Be sure to know what is going on. Take time to read relevant information to be informed about the technology and interfaces involved. Ask questions, be curious, listen to the answers. Next is grace under pressure, the swan analogy. When things have gone wrong, remain calm and unruffled on the surface while the legs are flapping furiously out of sight. Pause and count to 10 before reacting to unwelcome news. Seek to understand. Next, give everyone a voice in meetings. Allow people to be heard. Next, be human. Accept that you make mistakes. Ask for advice if you feel someone else might be able to help you. Finally, delegate in such a way that team members look forward to doing the task for you. These leading and leadership indicators impact key lagging indicators. In close-knit frontline communities, one of these outcomes is the level of respect and collaboration displayed by the regular crew. This was clearly evident there and was remarked upon by all who visited. The next aspect is the extra edge. What else can add advantage to attitude? Peak Performance is another excellent book which I wholeheartedly recommend to any aspirant peak performer. It is written by Brad Stulberg and Steve Magnus. These guys have really researched the science behind performance. I've shortlisted their tips which relate to mood set. First, have the courage to rest. Do a mindfulness meditation where you focus on nothing but breath. Start with just 1 minute and build from there. Meditate daily, apply mindful muscle. Frequency trumps duration. Next, take smart breaks and let your subconscious go to work. When you hit an impasse, have the courage to step away. This enables aha moments during the break. For really draining tasks, step away until the next day. Shower, do the dishes, go for a walk. Then return and write down what your subconscious uncovered. Prioritize sleep. Reframe sleep as productive time. 7 to 9 hours is ideal. Ensure you get natural light. Take regular exercise. Avoid caffeine 5 hours before bed. Avoid alcohol close to bedtime. Limit blue light before bed. Also, take naps when drowsy. Next, take extended time off, ideally a weekday off per week. The more you stress, the more you should rest. Prime for performance, optimize routines, repeat what works, have a warm-up regimen and develop cues for yourself. Remember the impact of mood on performance, be positive. Next, create a place of your own. Find physical spaces to dedicate to specific activities. The right environment will enhance productivity on a deep neurological level. Next, condition yourself to perform. Link behaviors to cues, time of day, deep breathing, self-talk. Consistency is king. Design your day, become a minimalist to be a maximalist. Reduce decisions regarding the clothes that you wear, time of day that you exercise, attendance at social events. Don't devote brain power to gossip or to worrying what others think. Next, determine your chronotype, morning lark or night owl. Don't fight fatigue, be smart with energy, protect the time that you are most alert. Surround yourself with a culture of team performance. Be positive and show motivation. A chain is only as strong as the weakest link. The next aspect is climate control. Focus first on your own factory. In his book, The Infinite Game, Simon Sinek's chapter on trusting teams should be required reading for literally every leader in every workplace, in my view. He uses excellent examples to make exceptional points. I've seen some of them illustrated at his talks and replayed on YouTube. He starts the chapter with an example from the oil field, which resonated instantly. The leader of the Shell Ursa platform in the Gulf of Mexico engaged with a transformation specialist to build trust through safe vulnerability. His roughneck crews eventually embraced the process and removed their proverbial masks to open up about their fears and failings. By doing this, they learned to trust each other. They created a climate of psychological safety where it was okay to ask for help, to admit mistakes, and to question instructions. They evolved from a transactional workforce to a transformed team, and their industry-leading results underscored the value of building true trust. The Navy SEALs have a great measure to determine the kind of person who belongs in the SEALs. Performance on the vertical axis versus trust on the horizontal. Performance is about technical competence. Trust is about character. One SEAL apparently described it thus: "I may trust you with my life, but do I trust you with my money or my wife?" It is the distinction between battle physical safety and overall psychological safety. One of the highest performing organizations on the planet prefers individuals in the bottom right quartile than in the top left, because the latter are typically narcissistic and toxic. The SEALs select for character first. Trust helps build an elite team, whereas high-performing individuals only looking out for themselves endanger a team. When a new police chief took over at Castle Rock PD, he started with listening sessions. He figuratively built a circle of safety, but he also literally built a fence around the department, as it was identified by many as a requirement for physical safety. This small initiative sent a profound message to the department. You are being heard, your leaders will act on your suggestions, and we are psychologically safe. He gave people a second chance because he recognized that it was the culture, not the individuals, that had been toxic. A leader must take the first risk and prioritize trust over performance. Coach, check in, be held accountable. The Castle Rock Police Department was completely transformed. It is the combination of what we value and how we act that sets the culture for the company. Culture equals values plus behavior. These are the metrics for trust and performance. How people feel affects how they do their work. Strong cultures have safety in relationships. High-performing teams start with trust. But this mood set needs to endure over time, and that takes awareness and focus. The US Marine Corps Quantico officer selection process is instructive. They run practical leadership tasks, but the amazing thing is that the ability to successfully complete the task is not even measured. It is only the inputs that are measured. Behavioral qualities such as honesty, integrity, courage, resilience, perseverance, judgment, and decisiveness. If officer candidates engender trust and cooperation, there is a higher probability that their troops will perform at higher levels over time. Leaders need to make new leaders. That is critical for succession planning. We need to care for people, help them feel safe, and trust them. They will then follow their leaders anywhere and go the extra mile. In the USMC, as in the SEALs and at Shell, trust is key. Psychological safety and leadership vulnerability encourages professional will. As a father of 3 young children, working from home in 2020 while my wife homeschooled the kids and we strove to create the conditions for harmony, I've probably learned more about mood set than ever before. Sustaining excellence in the face of constant challenge and change is a truly fascinating pursuit. But it can be done if we understand how to enable the right mood. Together with the right mindset and method, we can model some of the best coaches in the world to manifest mastery in all that we do. Thanks for listening, and please set your mood to motivated for the rest of this year.